I can tell you some stuff about the money situation, but I'm not sure I can say it on camera, so I will tell you that after. I think I'm a bad matchup for him, to be honest, and I think he knows it.
My opinion, I think it's a huge risk.
Yeah.
It's a huge risk. You're younger, you're athletic, you hit hard, you pose problems. We don't have much data on you, meaning that we don't know what happens if you do.
I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it. I get it. It's just about the title for me. I just want the title, that's it.
In the ever-evolving world of mixed martial arts, where titles are won through blood, sweat, and undeniable grit, silence can sometimes be more telling than action. And for Tom Aspinall, that silence has finally become unbearable. In a recent video that has taken the MMA world by storm, the usually composed and disciplined British heavyweight let it all out. No more waiting, no more politeness, and certainly no more holding back. Tom Aspinall is furious. And the target of his rage? The UFC, and more specifically, Jon Jones. Aspinall, who has been climbing the ranks with knockout after knockout, has remained relatively quiet while navigating the complex politics of the heavyweight division. But now, it's clear that he's had enough. With the heavyweight title locked up, the division frozen in time, and Jon Jones seemingly out of reach, Tom is calling out the entire system. What makes this outburst so significant is that it didn't come from a place of showmanship or hype. It came from a place of genuine frustration. You can see it in his eyes, hear it in his voice. This is a man who feels disrespected, overlooked, and actively avoided. And he's not wrong to feel that way. While the UFC continues to promote vague timelines and non-committal updates about Jones's return, Aspinall has been sidelined. Despite holding the interim title and being arguably the most active and dangerous fighter in the division today. Fans are tired of the delay. Aspinall is tired of the delay. And in his video, he made it crystal clear that he believes the UFC is protecting Jon Jones from a real fight. It's a bold accusation. But when you look at the timeline, the injuries, the lack of official fight announcements, and Jones's social media presence filled with vacation clips and non-fight related distractions, it's hard not to at least understand where Tom is coming from. This isn't just a man calling for a fight. This is a warrior demanding justice. A champion in waiting who feels the sport is being tarnished by indecision and favoritism. Tom Aspinall has finally broken his silence, and in doing so, he's ignited a conversation that no one in the UFC can ignore any longer.
Jon, in my opinion, if you look at his body of work over the last 15 years, he's like as close as you can get to perfection as possible. He's like 37, 38 years old, but not only that, he's got a million miles on the clock. So he's got a lot of damage on the body. He's took a lot of shots to the head. And that's not me saying anything negative about it. That's the reality of it. And I'm sure Jon Jones is aware of that. And he's fighting one of the most concussive punches in UFC history. And I just think I can exploit it. Like, I think to get out the way of me for 25 minutes at this point in his career without getting hit once, and that's all I need is just one, I think that's going to be very difficult for anybody.
The pound for pound debate rages on. Dana White, whenever he gets a chance, he'll tell you Jon Jones is the man. Other people say he's not active enough, and you're in a position to comment on that. What do you think?
What is this pound for pound bull? It's a load of rubbish. It's like saying, it just doesn't even make sense. Like, don't get me started on that. It's just like, how can you have a pound for pound? What does that mean if everyone's the same size? So how can you compare Demetrius Johnson's style to Brock Lesnar's style and say if they're the same? Like, they've got completely different attributes. It's like, I've got a bulldog, right? It's like saying, right, if my bulldog had a really long neck, it would win a giraffe or the bulldog. Like, it's absolute bullshit. How can you even compare it? It's a lot of rubbish.
For nearly 2 years, Tom Aspinall has waited. Not idly, not in silence, but with growing frustration as he watches the UFC's heavyweight division grind to a halt. He's trained, recovered from injury, fought back to claim the interim title, and now he's stuck in a holding pattern. And make no mistake, he's had enough. At this point, the word limbo barely does the situation justice. It's more like purgatory. Aspinall, despite being one of the most dangerous and dynamic fighters in the division, has been forced to sit back and watch the UFC maneuver around him. What was once a sport based on merit and momentum has started to feel like a backstage political drama, and Tom Aspinall is calling it out for what it is. He isn't just frustrated by delays. He's fed up with what he believes is a deliberate attempt to shield Jon Jones from facing the division's top threats, particularly him. Aspinall has made it clear. He believes Jones is being protected. Not by fans, not by injury, but by the very organization meant to give fighters equal opportunity. According to Tom, the UFC is enabling Jon to avoid a dangerous matchup under the guise of recovery and timing. And the evidence is mounting. 2 years without a title defense. Countless excuses. Social media posts from Jones that seem more focused on lifestyle than legacy. The longer this goes on, the more Aspinall's words resonate, not just with fans, but with fellow fighters and analysts who are starting to question what's really going on behind the scenes. This isn't just about a missed opportunity. This is about a wasted window, a crucial chapter in Aspinall's career where he could be making history, building his legacy, and proving he's the best heavyweight in the world. Instead, he's stuck waiting for a fight that may never come, sidelined not by injury or defeat, but by promotional politics. And if you listen closely, you'll hear the tension rising across the MMA world. People are starting to ask, how long can this go on? How long can a fighter as talented and deserving as Tom Aspinall be left out in the cold while the champion sits idle? For Aspinall, the answer is simple. No longer. The patience is gone. The gloves are off. He's not just calling for a fight. He's demanding accountability.
The UFC don't really want Tom to fight anybody else other than Jon Jones. And, you know, they're saying, stay tuned. That's the message they wanted Tom to give out to people. And we had the meeting with Hunter. And they're going to try and fix the fight with Jon Jones, but we're still in April now. Still waiting for this guy to say, I'll have a fight or I'll not have a fight. And I don't really understand that. He's a fighter who should be having fights. Why is he just still sat around, not giving an answer as to whether he's going to fight or not? Tom's done all he can do. He's fought in the middle of the night to defend an interim. He fought for an interim because the fight was on for him to do an interim and he couldn't turn it down. And he won that. What else can he do? He can fight lesser people than Jon Jones, lesser ranked people than Jon Jones, but that means that he may miss the opportunity to fight Jon Jones, which is a massive opportunity.
Tom Aspinall has reached a point of no return, and his words are cutting deep into the heart of the UFC heavyweight landscape. In a division once known for its terrifying knockout artists and fast-paced title chases, everything now feels still, stagnant, frozen. And Aspinall isn't just frustrated, he's angry. According to him, the UFC has allowed the heavyweight division to grind to a halt under the reign of Jon Jones. A reign marked not by dominance inside the cage, but by absence. Aspinall claims that his own prime is being wasted, valuable months and potentially years where he could be fighting the best, chasing greatness, and proving he's the elite among elites. But instead, he's been left on the sidelines. And what makes it worse? He doesn't believe it had to be this way. He says the UFC could have prevented all of this if they were willing to let the champion take real risks. Instead, Jones remains inactive, unchallenged, and, in Aspinall's eyes, untouched by the true danger that the division holds. It's a bold accusation, but Aspinall isn't backing down. He points to Jones's time in Thailand as the final straw. While the division waits for clarity, Jones has been posting training clips, sure, but also photos from pool parties, nightlife outings, and vacation-like retreats. It's a stark contrast to Aspinall's grind, who's been in the gym, in interviews, and in the public eye, calling for the fight that should have already happened. No official fight date. No real updates. No press conferences. Just silence, and a lot of Instagram stories from the other side of the world. Aspinall says this isn't just disappointing, it's damaging. To the sport, to the fans, and to every contender stuck beneath the weight of a frozen belt. In his view, the heavyweight title has become a prop, not a prize. A placeholder for a legacy that isn't being earned in the cage anymore. And so, he's not just demanding a fight, he's demanding answers. Why is the most dangerous matchup being delayed? Why is the interim champion still treated like an outsider? And how long will the UFC continue to let the most competitive division in the sport rot at the top? For Aspinall, time's up. It's time for a real fight, or a real reckoning.
And of course, it's been pretty interesting, all the stuff that Jon Jones has been saying to the media this week, and I'm sure there's more to come, but check out these.
You're beating guys who aren't even champions, and you consider yourself a champion. He's not a champion.
So Jon said I need to fight more champions, but this is the problem I've got. Jon is the champion, and he won't fight me. And he says that he won't fight me because it's too much of a gamble.
Aspinall to me is no difference than an Olin St. Prude or Dominic Reyes or Anthony Smith, like just another up and comer that's exciting right now. And I'm not into gambling my legacy for what's exciting.
And Jon, if you're not into gambling your legacy, that to me sounds like you're scared of losing against me.
It's not about you. It's not about your life. It's not about your story. If you want to enjoy your life, if you want to be a part of a reality show, if you want to take that money and delay things and hold someone else's dreams back from becoming a reality, that is ducking. That is ducking, because there is a time-honored tradition in this business, in the sport, in combat sports, in fight sports, in sports period, that the whole thing has to move along. It's not about your story. Your story is great and you're living your best life, great. Get rid of that belt. If you want to do that, great. No one will begrudge you. Everyone thinks you've done enough. You've earned enough. You've proven enough. Now allow someone else to have that same story. Allow someone else to write that same story. You are holding him back. You are holding back not only Tom Aspinall, but the rest of the division. So yes, you're missing the point. This isn't about you. It's about the belt.
Tom Aspinall has stopped whispering. He's not dropping hints, he's not being diplomatic, and he's not waiting for a shot to magically appear. His message is now loud, clear, and impossible to ignore. He is done being patient. This isn't about promotion anymore. This is about principle. Aspinall has openly declared that Jon Jones, the current UFC heavyweight champion, is holding up the entire division, and worse, robbing Aspinall and other top contenders of their prime years. The tone of his latest comments isn't just frustration, it's righteous indignation. He's not making a polite call-out. He's issuing a challenge wrapped in truth, and the MMA world is listening. And let's be honest, it's not just Tom who's feeling the sting anymore. The discontent is spreading far and wide. Fans are asking hard questions. Analysts are starting to raise eyebrows. Fellow fighters are beginning to echo Aspinall's sentiments. One by one, voices in the MMA community are uniting around a single truth. The heavyweight division is being held hostage. Jon Jones, widely regarded as the greatest fighter of all time, hasn't defended his belt since winning it. There are no scheduled bouts, no confirmed return, no forward motion. In his absence, Tom Aspinall has stepped up, taken risks, and earned the interim title. Yet despite being at the peak of his game, he remains on the outside, waiting for a champion who refuses to engage. The optics aren't good. While Aspinall sharpens his weapons in the gym, Jones is seen overseas, enjoying life and posting the occasional cryptic tweet. There's a growing feeling that the legend is no longer eager to face the present, and that the UFC may be enabling it to preserve a legacy, even if it costs the sport its momentum. Aspinall has now taken it upon himself to speak for the division. He isn't asking for a favor, he's demanding fairness. If Jon Jones won't fight, strip the title. If he will, name the date. But stop keeping the belt and the division hostage. The message is crystal clear. Fight or step aside. Because Tom Aspinall isn't just calling for a bout anymore, he's calling out an era of inaction. And the MMA world is beginning to rally behind him.
I take that tweet and I send it to the UFC. He told you his plans. He told you his intentions. Now tell us. Because either one of you is lying at this point. Either Jon didn't tell them his plans, or the UFC is not telling their plans. I said that the UFC came correct with the money. Jon asked for top dollar, they offered him top dollar. Essentially wasn't interested. That he's out living his best life. And so now what I believe is happening, as we've talked about ad nauseum on this program, and quite frankly, this topic is boring at this point, If they announced the fight today, we would say, great, now can we all move on? But I believe that the UFC pulls the trigger on things when they have to. And so they told Ilya, we need that belt because we need a main event for April in Miami. We're taking that belt. They told Islam, we need that belt because we need a main event for June in Las Vegas. Until they are forced with a predicament where they need a slot filled, they're not going to listen to what Jon Jones is saying.
An idea. He was the one who delayed till Francis was out the fucking door. He could have fought Francis a long time ago. If he'd just taken the chance of going up to heavyweight earlier, we could have had him versus a prime Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez was 240. Jon Jones is 260, 265. And you're telling me Cain Velasquez was too big for him? What a load of shit. Stipe Miocic could have fought him in his prime, another one who was no bigger than Jon Jones. So when he's giving it the big and being like, oh, well, people always think someone's going to come and dethrone me. And yeah, I get the narrative. That was the way at light heavyweight. There was always that next guy coming up. But you ain't never fought an animal like Tom Aspinall, who is as quick on his feet, who has the speed that he does at 260 pounds, who has the heavy hands that he does. You have never been in there with a beast like that. It's just not happened. I'm not saying that means Aspinall wins, but for people to do the Tyson Fury thing of going, oh, well, he's always won, so therefore he always will win.
Tom Aspinall isn't chasing spotlight. He's not after clickbait headlines, attention-grabbing drama, or viral social media moments. What he wants is much simpler and far more meaningful. He wants the real fight, the real belt, and the real recognition that comes from facing the best in the world and beating them inside the octagon. That's it. No politics. No games. Just a genuine contest between warriors. But instead of getting what he's earned, Aspinall is met with silence, and worse, he says, with mockery. Instead of negotiation calls or bout agreements, he sees Jon Jones posting cryptic tweets and lifestyle videos from halfway across the globe. Training clips from Thailand, party photos, spiritual quotes, everything except a clear answer about defending the UFC heavyweight title. And for Aspinall, this isn't just frustrating, it's insulting. He's worked too hard, come too far, and taken too many risks to be ignored now. Since recovering from his devastating knee injury, Aspinall has roared back with a vengeance, finishing top-level opponents and claiming the interim title in dominant fashion. By all accounts, he's done everything the UFC has asked of him. But still, there's no fight on the calendar, no press conference in sight, and no public acknowledgement from Jon Jones that the interim champ even exists. And Aspinall's growing concern is that the silence isn't accidental. He believes it's strategic. That Jon, whether due to fear, ego, or business, is deliberately avoiding him. That cryptic tweets and exotic vacation posts aren't signs of rest, they're signs of delay. Delay in facing the most dangerous threat to Jon's legacy since he stepped into the heavyweight division. Tom has made it clear. He doesn't need to be loved. He doesn't want favors. He wants the chance to prove, in the cage, that he is the best heavyweight on earth. And in the process, he wants to restore a sense of order to a division that's been gripped by uncertainty. Yet the longer the UFC allows this silence to continue, the more the situation starts to feel like a cover-up, one that keeps a worthy contender from a shot and a champion safe from the fight that could change everything. Aspinall isn't asking for clout. He's demanding clarity. He's earned his place at the table. Now, he wants a shot at the throne.
I see quite a few people in here calling me a duck. I'm a duck. Call me a duck. Call me a chicken. Call me a goat. Call me a dog. I'm not in high school anymore, guys. A grown man out here chasing his dreams. It's funny that we really live in a world where being called a...
If I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an asshole that I don't want to do business with him. You know, it's just like his fans have been so annoying. And obviously you don't get this far in a career being affected by fans or whatnot. But he's just an asshole, you know, with his, you know, he's 30, so he's from this influencer generation where you hop online and the t-shirt sales and all that. I'm past that type of stuff. I'm like, bro, if you had a little bit more respect, then maybe we could have worked something out, you know, but I just don't even want to do business with him. You know, at the end of the day, this is a business. And fighting me gives him an opportunity to change his life forever. And I don't even want to give him the opportunity. Like, he just played his cards wrong with me personally. And you know, I'm 3 years from being a 40-year-old grown man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, the press conference, going through the whole shebang with him, I'd rather not do. Fajeda on the other side, respectful, cool, barely says much. It's like, I'll do business with you. I would risk it all with a human being like you. You actually have the accolades to back up your shit. This other guy is just a big mouth who's hot today. There's been so many guys who's hot today who are just gone. You know, Sergey was in the same position not too long ago. Now he's starting to fall off already. I've just been around this sport too long to give a big mouth who's hot today the opportunity.
You are ducking. You're ducking the opportunity. You're taking that opportunity away from someone else. You are robbing someone else of the same opportunity and the same dream that you have already realized and lived. That is selfish. That's not how the game works. And so it's on the UFC to make the call. Make the call. And you know what? They may have already made the call. And it may be happening at MSG, and we're all being, you know, we're all being taken for a ride here. But honestly, if that is the case, come out and say it. And please tell Tom Aspinall, for the love of God, because by the time that fight happens, if it does happen on that day, it's going to be a year. We're approaching a year since his last fight, and that fight lasted 60 seconds. It is a travesty. It is a crime what is happening to Tom Aspinall in the prime of his life, in the prime of his career. Give up the belt or fight. That's it. Defend or vacate. That's it. It's great. We're all happy for you. I love the fact that you turned your life around. Truly. Trust me, I was there. We did the walk and talk in Albuquerque. I covered it all. It actually warms my heart. But you got to keep the train rolling along.
At first, the delays were understandable. A torn pectoral muscle? That's a legitimate injury. A recovery timeline? Of course. Champions, like all athletes, need time to heal. But as the months rolled on with no official updates, no serious negotiations, and no concrete steps toward defending the title, MMA insiders started asking the uncomfortable question, is Jon Jones actually avoiding Tom Aspinall? And according to respected journalist Ariel Helwani, the answer might be yes. In a recent appearance, Ariel didn't mince words. He said outright that this isn't just about injuries, and it's not just about timing. What's happening now, in his view, is a calculated avoidance, a deliberate effort to delay or outright dodge the most dangerous threat in the heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall. That's a serious claim. Ariel Helwani isn't known for throwing out reckless accusations. His reputation is built on accuracy, credibility, and deep insider connections. So when he says that Jones is making every excuse imaginable to avoid the interim champ, people pay attention. And when you start connecting the dots, it's hard to dismiss the theory. Since becoming champion, Jon Jones has yet to defend his title. Aspinall, meanwhile, has emerged as a terrifying force, fast, powerful, well-rounded, and hungry. He's younger, more active, and unlike most of Jon's previous opponents, has nothing to lose. He's the kind of challenge that can't be neutralized by wrestling alone. He can strike. He can move. And he's confident. So, why hasn't the UFC made this fight yet? Why has there been no push to unify the belt? And why is Jon Jones so publicly visible, posting on social media, training overseas, going on podcasts, but completely silent when it comes to facing Aspinall? Ariel believes the answer is simple. Jones doesn't want this fight. Whether it's fear of tarnishing his legacy, fear of losing in a new division, or just a smart business move, Helwani says this has now gone beyond the injury excuse. It's strategic. It's protective. And it's frustrating the fans who once hailed Jon as the most fearless champion in the sport. Tom Aspinall isn't just another contender. He's the contender. And if Ariel is right, Jon Jones knows it.
Who's next big heavyweight star? Tom Aspinall, the guy who
Of
just
course, who
won
just
the
won.
interim title. He's phenomenal, and he is again the next the next advancement of the evolution of the sport.
How so?
Well, because he can do everything. That guy's got elite jiu-jitsu. He's got elite takedowns. His striking is outstanding. Like, I've seen a lot of heavyweight, even Francis, who's like the greatest, scariest power striker I've ever seen in the heavyweight division. No one's scarier than Francis. Francis does not move like Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is significantly faster than every other heavyweight. That's a real problem because he's a heavyweight and he's a big guy, a really big guy, but he moves so fast. And so his speed has always been like extraordinary compared to other heavyweights. Like, he just fucking moves in. It's all like fast, explosive movements. So he's got natural speed, but then he's also got a lot of training to execute quickly. So when he moves in, he closes the gap. You can see like he's fast for a big guy.
Right.
I want to see it so bad.
John was shitting all over Aspinall, saying that
I
he
think
was
that's
lucky.
a bad way to go.
He was lucky that he blew his knee out with Curtis Blades because Curtis was teeing off
Doing
on him.
well.
Unless John avoided him, unless John used his wrestling to avoid exchanges, you know what that's all about.
Correct. It's called the Shop Shutdown.
The Shop Shutdown.
They sell a 7-part
They did with
series on
Cyborg.
it. Yes. The Stipe fight, which is just like, it's a weird thing.
Aspinall's an athlete, man. He's such a good athlete.
Freak athlete.
Very fast. Very fast for a
God,
heavyweight.
So fast.
Yeah, but
And-
we felt the same way about Cyril Gane, though.
Yeah, but
Cyril
Gane
Gane
is-
doesn't have wrestling, doesn't have jiu-jitsu. Aspinall's like legit on the ground.
Black belt.
Very legit on the ground.
So legit that
dad-
his dad owned jiu-jitsu gym. His dad's a black belt. He started doing jiu-jitsu at 2.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Aspinall is past the first round, right? Because we've seen him. He looks so fast. He looks. You're like, nobody moves like him. He looks like a younger Kane.
Right.
But he just keeps knocking these guys out so quick. So I'm like, let me see him past the first round to see if he has that cardio as well.
Jones is the heavyweight champion. He's an incredible fighter. You know, he's incredible. He's one of the greatest of all time. I don't think he can hold a candle to Tom. I think Tom will do the same thing to Jon Jones as what he did to Marcin Tybura. I don't think there's anyone that can stop Tom Aspinall. He's that good. He's that switched on, and he's just a great guy as well.
Let's be honest. There's only one fight that truly matters in the UFC heavyweight division right now. No other matchup generates the same level of intrigue, intensity, or stakes. And that fight is Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. It's not just the fans saying this. It's the experts, too. People like Joe Rogan, Michael Bisping, and Chael Sonnen have all voiced the same sentiment. If Jon Jones wants to prove he's still the baddest man on the planet, he has to go through Tom Aspinall. No one else makes sense. No one else presents the same threat. And no one else carries the same level of legitimacy. Jones may have taken the title from Cyril Gane, but one dominant win doesn't cement a legacy in a new division, especially when the belt has since collected dust. The real validation comes when you defend the crown, when you face the #1 contender, when you silence the most dangerous challenger. And that challenger is Aspinall. Yet despite all the buzz, despite the noise from fans and analysts, there's still no official word. No posters. No face-offs. No UFC press conference with a date and location printed in bold. Just vague rumors, one of the most prominent being that a potential showdown could happen at Madison Square Garden in November. But until that's confirmed, it's just more smoke and mirrors. More stalling. More mind games. And let's not forget, Aspinall has done everything right. He's active. He's marketable. He holds the interim title. He's not asking for a favor, he's demanding the title unification bout he's earned. Meanwhile, Jones continues to stay at arm's length, posting motivational tweets and training montages from overseas, while UFC fans scroll and speculate. The clock is ticking. The pressure is building. And if this fight isn't booked soon, the conversation will shift from will Jon Jones fight Aspinall to why is Jon Jones avoiding Aspinall? Because in today's UFC, nothing speaks louder than silence. And right now, that silence from the Jones camp is growing more deafening by the day. Everyone knows what's at stake. The legacy, the belt, the future of the heavyweight division. One fight, one truth, one path forward. Jones versus Aspinall.
This is the only sport in the world you can have somebody hold your career back.
Yep. I've been almost a year inactive with no prospects of anything. Just be ready and we'll just let you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of difficult, like mentally, to...
Oh, yeah.
This is the fight against Jon Jones. Like, Not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best. I'm trying. It's tough. As you said a minute ago, no one really knows what's going on behind the scenes apart from me.
Exactly. You're in office cooking.
I train all the time anyway. Just because I've not got a fight doesn't mean I don't train. Like, I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it. I get it. It's just about the title for me. I just want the title, that's it. Does nothing else really matter, so.
You're like, let me do my thing, let me fight.
I just want to fight.
And I think that's the respectful way to go about it. It's like, you don't care if it's Jon, and it's no disrespect to Jon, it's no disrespect to anybody out there, you're just trying to fight. I just want to fight.
Is Jon Jones scared to fight you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing with Jon is conning the public, man.
Whoa. And Logan Paul, it's his favorite fighter.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Well, listen.
I mean, he's definitely top 3. He's definitely top 3.
Absolutely. I'm not disputing that he's an amazing fighter. I think the fact that he didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years, and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year, and the way he manipulates the media and the public is super smart. I'm not taking anything away from him. But do I think he's scared to take the tough fights at this stage in his career? Absolutely.
Can you understand that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can.
You can empathize with that?
I respect it. But if you're going to ask me the straight up question, is Jon Jones afraid to fight me? The honest answer would be yes.
Tom Aspinall isn't just talking, he's training. He's in the gym. He's sharpening every weapon. He's watching film, lifting, sparring, recovering, and repeating the process day in, day out. He's doing what fighters do when they're preparing for war. And the question that's now echoing across the MMA world is simple. Where is Jon Jones? Aspinall has made it clear. He's not waiting anymore. He's ready. Physically, mentally, emotionally. He wants the unification bout. He wants the undisputed title. And most importantly, he wants clarity. But what he's gotten instead is more radio silence, more mixed signals, and more distractions from the other side of the world. While Tom's putting in the work in Manchester, Jon Jones is overseas, posting training clips in between vacation-style photos and spiritual quotes on Instagram. And at this point, fans are no longer entertained. They're confused. Confused about why the most dangerous man in the heavyweight division can't get a straight answer. Confused about why a reigning champion isn't being held accountable to defend his belt. And confused about whether the UFC is more interested in protecting a legacy than honoring competition. Even respected voices in MMA media are starting to shift their tone. Ariel Helwani has already labeled Jones as a ducker, a term few thought would ever be associated with the legendary fighter. But the longer this drags on, the more people are beginning to agree. If you're not fighting, and you're not injured, and you're not negotiating, then what are you doing with the title? That's the question Tom Aspinall is demanding be answered. He's not just asking for a shot at glory, he's asking for the chance to prove who the real champion is. Because as long as Jon Jones refuses to defend, the crown means less. And eventually, Aspinall warns, the fans, the fighters, and the sport itself will stop calling Jon Jones champion and start calling him something else entirely, a placeholder. Or worse, a coward. This is no longer about hype. This is about honor. If Jones continues to sidestep the biggest fight of his heavyweight career, he risks erasing the very legacy he spent a lifetime building. Tom Aspinall is ready. The fans are ready. The world is watching. So the only question left is, will Jon Jones ever show up?
What do you think you have where you're better than him?
Well, Jon, let me first start by saying Jon is absolutely elite, and I completely agree with the notion that he's one of the best fighters ever.
Is he the greatest?
Potentially, but the way that I look at it is he has failed a couple of drug tests. To me, that rules you out of being the best of all time.
Really?
For me personally, yeah, I think.
Does it make him a cheat?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah. If you're on steroids or whatever, I don't think he was on steroids, but he was on PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. If you're on PEDs and your opponent isn't, that's absolutely cheating in my book, unless you're both allowed to do it.
You've never taken anything like that?
Absolutely not.
Eat on uncensored?
I don't know. That's his
Do you
prerogative.
care?
No, I'm not bothered. Jon Jones seems to get his feelings hurt a lot.
I think he's a little snowflake.
I don't think he's a snowflake, no. But
is he ducking you?
No, he's trying to get more money.
I don't think he is ducking me. He's trying to get more money.
And I mean, as far as Curtis Blades go, there was also a lot of people thinking it could have gone over a round and a half. And I mean, you don't like second rounds. Like, what do you have against second rounds, Tom Aspinall?
Absolutely nothing. His coach said in the build-up, we're going to drag him into deep water. We're going to drag him to the later rounds. So I was preparing myself for the later rounds. You know what I mean? That was me. I was going slow in there, man. That wasn't me trying to knock him out at all. I never looked for the finish. I was like they're saying they're going to drag me into deep water. I'm going to look in the camera and say, somebody drag me into deep water. I'm telling you, I want to feel what it's like. I want to see if I can swim or not. Jon Jones, if you can drag me there, take me there. Because right now, all these guys are saying it, but no one can do it.
He changes nothing if I beat him. Beating Tom is just like beating Cyril Gain. Has a whole country behind him. He's hot right now. What happens to me after I beat him? Nothing changes for me. I'm not ducking Tom Aspinall. The Tom narrative came out of nowhere. He won a belt and now suddenly I'm ducking him. I've never had negotiations to even fight him, if this makes sense.
You're calling out Jon Jones.
Yeah.
Right? That's the boogeyman. Like, Jon Jones is the fucking boogeyman. When he fought Gustafsson, he had almost no training camp. They said he barely showed up. Talked to Jackson about it, and Greg Jackson was telling me, he's like, he didn't even train for that fight. He pulled that fight off in the 4th and 5th rounds. That's when he really turned it up. So you're talking about a guy who hasn't even been training. And then you saw the real Jon Jones in the second fight. That's motivated Jon Jones.
It wasn't a perfect fight by Tom. Curtis was actually fundamentally doing some things a little bit better than Tom. And Tom is so powerful. One thing about Tom is these boys he's putting down, these are the big heavyweights. Tom's still touching these boys one time. Mike Tyson had a hard time putting down the heavyweights that were 240, 250, 260. These are the guys that Tom is touching one time. This is a shocking power, guys. When I'm thinking of a Tom versus Jon, I don't love the idea that Tom is getting guys out of here so quickly. In 3 years, Tom has been in the ring about 3 minutes. But the other side of it is, what are you gonna do? How you gonna stop it? Curtis Blades had a plan. He's as dangerous of a wrestler as the division has, and that plan did not make it out of the first round.
Jon Jones listening to this right now, what is your message to the man?
I don't have a message. I've had enough. Let me fight. Somebody. I'm not bothered who it is. Just let me fight.
495 days you've been the interim champ. How much longer are you willing to wait?
I just want to fight somebody. I'm a professional fighter and I want to fight somebody. I'm overweighting, to be honest. But whoever wants it, whether that's Jon Jones or somebody else, I will fight somebody sometime soon.
And that's why this could be the biggest fight in UFC history, if it ever actually happens. Will Jon Jones finally step up and face Tom Aspinall? What do you think happens next? Let us know in the comments below.
The UFC heavyweight title has always symbolized something powerful: dominance, fearlessness, and the will to take on all challengers. But in the current era, with Jon Jones holding the undisputed belt and Tom Aspinall holding the interim, many are beginning to ask a question that cuts deep into the sport itself. What does it even mean to be a champion anymore? Traditionally, a champion was someone who defended the title against all comers. No delays, no dodging, no politics. But now we're witnessing a slow, troubling shift in what the belt actually represents. For Tom Aspinall, this shift is personal, and it's infuriating. He's worked his way through the rankings, earned the interim title in dominant fashion, and stayed active while the supposed, undisputed, champion continues to avoid unification. For Aspinall, it feels like the UFC is rewarding inactivity and legacy over merit and performance. And if that continues, the idea of the heavyweight championship as the sport's most prestigious prize may start to crumble. Because how can you call someone a champion if they're not defending? How can you celebrate greatness if it's built on absence, not action? If the UFC continues to allow Jon Jones to delay, dodge, or even outright avoid fighting Aspinall, the belt starts to feel less like a badge of honor and more like a political tool. And that disillusionment isn't just limited to Aspinall. Across the division, other contenders are starting to feel the same way. Top-ranked fighters like Sergey Pavlovich and Jail Almeida are stuck in limbo too, unsure of where the title picture is heading. There's no movement at the top and no roadmap for anyone else. Fans, too, are growing restless. The UFC audience, arguably the most passionate and engaged in all of sports, is watching this saga unfold with increasing skepticism. The idea that championships must be earned and defended is under siege. And unless something changes, we may be heading toward an era where the title means less than ever before. Tom Aspinall isn't just fighting for a shot, he's fighting for what the sport should stand for. He's sounding the alarm. Because if the UFC keeps letting this avoidance go unchecked, the entire hierarchy of greatness in MMA could lose its meaning. Toward one conclusion, Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall could be the biggest fight in UFC history. Not just because of the names, not just because of the belt, but because of what this fight has come to represent for the division, for the legacy of both men, and for the very future of the sport itself. Think about the stakes. On one side, you have Jon Jones, arguably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. A fighter with an unmatched resume, a legacy of dominance in the light heavyweight division, and a mystique that has made him nearly mythical. But now he's under fire. Not because of what he's done, but because of what he hasn't done. He hasn't defended the heavyweight title. He hasn't responded to Tom Aspinall. He hasn't clarified his intentions. On the other side, you have Aspinall, the man who represents the new breed of heavyweights. Younger, faster, more well-rounded. A true martial artist who's climbed the ranks with highlight reel finishes and a humble but relentless attitude. He's not chasing clout, he's chasing clarity. He wants the real title and the respect that should come with it. So, what happens when a legacy built on dominance meets a future built on hunger? That's what makes this potential fight so monumental. It's more than a title defense, it's a generational clash. And fans are already treating it like the true championship bout, regardless of what the UFC currently labels the belts. Yet here we are, still waiting. Still wondering if this bout will actually happen. There are whispers about Madison Square Garden in November. There are headlines, there are interviews, and there are cryptic tweets. But still, there's no official fight announcement. No press conference. No commitment. And the longer it drags on, the more pressure builds. Because if this fight does happen, it could redefine the heavyweight division. And if it doesn't, it could permanently damage its credibility. So we leave you with the question, will Jon Jones finally step onto the stage and face Tom Aspinall? Or will he continue to post from the sidelines while the sport moves on without him? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this fight going to happen? And if it does, who walks away the undisputed champion?